Okay, let's share this, and then we can start. Oh, hey, Delago. I like your coverage of VeVe in Spanish. What's up, One Spear? Yo, Pluto. How's everyone doing today? It's Friday. It's like nearly 2 a.m. for me. Hey, Sweet Chow. Oh, Anime Keys. Yeah. You know what? There's a guy. His name, I think it's Sugar Crash or Sugar Rush or something. He messaged me, and he said he met another b-boy that he hasn't like connected with in years through my live stream. And he actually organized b-boy events in London, and I went to one of his events like years ago. It's called Floor Wars, and so he like knows a lot of my friends. It's interesting. The person who got me in crypto is he's like a famous b-boy called well, DJ technically and b-boy. He's called DJ Renegade. He's the one who does like the DJing for Red Bull BC1, and he's the one who I got introduced through into crypto by. Hey, VC. the McShack attack is here. 2 a.m. Yeah, it's standard. Oh, cheers. Yeah, anime. If I haven't been to the US at all. Oh, my b-boy name, like so I had like a really troll name that I entered in a competition. It was like called b-boy Oh Really Owl. Like you know that Oh Really Owl, the meme. But otherwise it was always just b-boy K. And I never did like Red Bull BC1 qualifiers, but I did like a lot of like regional and local competitions, like kind of like university level competitions, as well as like kind of like London regional ones, like the ones that you would get like, you know, the kind of like top London crew show up at. Obviously I got destroyed, but it was fun like training, competing against them. There's a lot of breakdancers here. Battles online, yeah, I've shared a few, but that was like, when was I competing? 2014, 2015. This was like 7 years ago. Price prediction for tomorrow. See, with Disney, it's like I kind of give up with Disney because it just breaks like the general pattern. Like you could drop 100,000 editions of a Mickey Mouse, and for some reason it will still probably go for like, you know, 2K each, even at 100K editions. It's just Disney's one of those ones that people just seem to hoard and stack. Like you know, my prediction for Steamboat Willie was like, you know, like around about that 1.5 range, like max, and then as soon as it comes out, it's like at 3K, and it just keeps going up. So for the Disney cards, you know, whatever I think is reasonable. Like if there's anything below 300, I'm just gonna buy it. But I do want to complete the full set. But once I've completed the set, I'll continue stacking. Do I know the criteria which VeVe? Yeah, yes and no. I know what definitely can constitute to them, you know, detecting you as a bot, and that's if they detect you're using an emulator, or if you have like a modified version of the app, that's definitely going to get you banned. Outside of that, they've obviously consulted like you know, like data scientists, and they look for like certain patterns. What patterns those are, I'm not, entirely sure myself, and I don't think they want people to know anyway. So that then, people are going to come up with ways to like game the system. Oh, Ray, Gambler's Crew. I met them in London. What's his name? B-Boy Noodle. Yeah, and I met what's his name as well from the like B-Boy Pocket. They came to like an event that I hosted. He's from I think he's in TIP crew. I can't remember now. Yo, energy, good vibes. Yeah. Let me see what Daniel Lee's doing. Maybe he'll want to hop on this. Have I had my ears lowered? No, my ears are still the same height. I did get a haircut though. That's why. Pocket is a beast. Yeah, Pocket's insane. Like he's in real life, he's really short though. That's why he's like so good at power moves. He's like probably like at my shoulder height, I think. Like he's really short, but he's powerful. Godfather, how's it going, bro? 2 a.m. vampire, yeah. I normally sleep in the mornings on Saturday, so it's like Fridays. I don't know. I feel bad like sleeping early because I'm like grinding like the whole week during the weekdays, and then I literally like I had a meeting until like 10 p.m. today. Oh, cheers! Yeah, thanks. I have like a Turkish barber. My account got disabled. I never used the bot yogurt. Yeah, there are so many reasons you can have an account disabled. Like, like people were buying gems off of other people, and those gems maybe came from a stolen credit card, so those accounts got disabled. There's so many reasons. Like, it's so hard. Like with my account, I'm very very careful. I don't even use like some people. They basically use like a micro USB device on their phone where they can connect the mouse. So it's like a little what's it called, like those Bluetooth things that you plug to your phone, and then you can control your phone with a mouse. I'm not even touching like any of that like hardware stuff. It's just too much of a risk for me because my account has quite a lot of stuff on it, as people probably can tell. Pocket equals kid trunks. Yeah, I'm more productive at night as well. It's like an actual thing where some people they're more productive at night. Like for me, I'm sleepy the whole day, and then at night I'm awake. I'm like super like nocturnal. Will Disney NFTs play music at the same time when I add all of them? That's a good question. My guess, and this is just a guess, is they'll either play music when you click on them, or they'll play music when your controller, like your character or whatever that you're controlling, is like within a certain distance from them, similar to like what a lot of these kind of NFT platforms are doing. So that'll be my guess. I don't think they'll be playing like everywhere in the showroom. Otherwise, it's just a bit like weird. Oh yeah, I think Daniel Lee's going to join. Let me grab the link for this. Invite, copy to clipboard. Let's see if he can hop on. This will be fun. We can troll paper hand down. Actually, last time I sent this link when Wannabe Champ tried joining. I didn't see his request, so I don't know if StreamYard's even like showing people want to join, but we'll see if he can join. I'm thinking these will hit 1K quick. Yeah, you know what? I don't doubt it. Like, even if the common, like, if it goes straight to 1K, I'm just gonna be like, yeah, I'm not surprised. Like, Disney's just ridiculous. Disney's just printing money at this point on VeVe. Has anyone found out any info on the McFarlane Simpson statue? I posted on Reddit yesterday, and it seems to have made it to Twitter. Yeah, I saw some of that circulating. Yeah, interesting. Oh wait, yes, we have Paper Hand Dan.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How's it going?
Okay, cool. How's it going, man? I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, I've been busy. I've got my tea, but I just noticed it says unsubscribe on here, which I think is like the wrong message. I should like turn it around.
What time is it over there? 2? Did you say it was 2?
Yeah, 2 a.m.
It's late.
Just like, yeah, it's just like a casual one because I've been like grinding this whole week. Like I literally had a meeting until 10 p.m. and then I feel bad if I sleep early, like on a Friday, because then I feel like I've just not had like any like chill time. And I normally sleep in on a Saturday anyway, so this is like the start of my like chill out part of my week.
Oh, it's
and
nice.
Plus, I'm awake at night anyway. Like I'm sleepy the whole day, and then at night I'm like, oh, I can like actually do stuff now.
Yeah, you get your second wind at nighttime.
Yeah.
I had a question since this is like a ask me anything or ask you anything.
Yeah.
You know, I know you're involved in all these like projects and stuff. So like, do you still have a day job still, or do you work for like Kaloscope?
Yeah. I've got a day job, but basically, so my plan is I'll probably like finally just quit my day job in April, because in the UK, I don't know how it works in other countries, but in the UK, the tax year is from April until April. And basically they do this thing where they calculate how much tax you have to pay, like based off of your like expected salary for that year. And that's based off of your monthly salary times 12. And so my tax has already been calculated. So if I were to hypothetically, if I were to just quit my job now and hypothetically not earn anything, because they've already been factoring in the tax I need to pay for my previous like salary that I've earned like the past tax year, I have to basically go to HMRC, which is like our version of the IRS. And then I have to basically apply for like a tax rebate, which is like a refund to me because I will have been overpaying tax. Or hypothetically, if I was to leave my job right now and get another job which pays me a much higher salary, I'd still be paying tax at my previous salary rate. So then I have to then go to them and say, hey, I'm not paying enough tax, and then like do it manually, and that's just a pain. And I'm like, you know what, I'd rather than going through that pain, I'd rather just work for like another 2-3 months or whatever, and just fresh from the next tax year, just focus on that. And plus, I don't think I think we'll be properly ready to launch by about March anyway. We are going to have like a sale in February, but to like proper launch the platform and everything, I think it won't be until March. And then that gives me like my 1 month notice period, because you have to basically give your employer 1 month notice before you leave. So if I hand in my resignation in March, I have to stay there until the end of March.
Gotcha. Okay. So then is your position going to be with Kaloscope? Is that going to be a full-time position or?
Yeah. It has to be full-time because there's just too much stuff to do. And like I've been doing it like as a kind of after work kind of thing, but now there's more and more stuff coming. I have to basically dedicate full-time to it. There's like a whole team of like developers, and basically I'm the only one there who basically understands the project well enough where I can help essentially create the requirements for the development team. But I'm also a developer myself, so I can do it in a way where they understand it. Because there's like this weird thing where I'm sure like companies like Ecomi have gone through it, where if you have like a non-technical person trying to give requirements to developers, a lot of the time they're going to get it wrong. And then you have to keep going back and forth until they finally understand what you mean. So yeah, I'm kind of like needed in order to make sure things go right like the first or second time.
I have this interview coming up with is a user who has I guess he's had he's got $200,000 worth of these collectibles. He recently got locked out. He doesn't do anything apparently that's against term of service. Have you heard about these people? And like, what's your theory with these people who theoretically have done nothing? Like, let's say we believe these people. What is going on? Is it the algorithm that's like tripping them up, or because this person said he's even done KYC and he's still got a restricted account?
Yeah, that happened to my colleague, right? So basically, this guy, he's like a very casual VeVe user. Like, I introduced him to it. He's like, oh, this is cool. And he does the drops with me. He does them in front of me. He's got like, he's got one iPhone and then that's it. And he got restricted. And I was like, what the hell? But I found out how he got, like, I think I'm 99% certain why he got restricted, because I made a post on Twitter asking people if other people had done this exact same thing. And quite a lot of people got restricted. And basically what he did was he had an iPhone 10 or iPhone 11, whatever. And he was logged in there, right? And he just recently got a brand new phone, which is an iPhone 13. It was like fresh, brand new phone. He basically downloaded VeVe and then logged into VeVe on that new phone whilst still logged into his old phone. And like within like hours, like his account was restricted. And I was like, what the hell? And so I made a post asking if other people had done something similar, like if they'd swapped to a new phone and got restricted. And it seems to be like a lot of people did, and it was specifically iPhones. And I know iPhones have always been like weird with the VeVe app. Like they've always been weird exploits and things going on, buggy things with iPhones on VeVe. So I was like, I'm pretty certain there's something related to like, if when you're still logged into like an old phone and then you log into a new phone and you're both logged in to both devices and the iOS, I think there's something buggy going on there. Outside of that, if people do get restricted, there's like so many weird ways, like if you buy gems off of like someone and that person got the gems through stolen credit cards. If you do like weird things on the app, like I think like if you have like loads of accounts sending you a collectible, I think that like kind of trips something up as well, because I know that's happened to a few people. There's like there's a lot of like signals that they look for, but they're not going to tell people what those signals are, because then people will learn and game the system and get around it, and then they have to like start from scratch. But yeah, like I think you will get false positives caught up in there, definitely. But the iPhone one, I think that needs to be looked into, because that's just janky. Like if you're logging into a new device and you get restricted, I don't know if that is the case, but it seems like it's the case.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know really this person at all, right? But there's some aspect of trusting. If he says like, he did all this and did all that, I'm like, okay, hopefully that's true. It's probably true, but it'll be interesting to talk to him about it, because I feel like there wasn't so many cases of people publicly talking about how their accounts got restricted, and it just seems like it's happening more and more nowadays, especially after like the bot security upgrade that VeVe did. But maybe it's just, I don't know, like perception or something.
Yeah. I think they will eventually resolve these issues, because as a developer, like it's just known in the development community that iOS is like one of the most annoying things to develop on. It's always like the most buggiest platform out of the two compared to Android. And it's just because with Apple, right, there's just less like iOS developers out there, because with Android, if you want to be an Android developer, all you need to do is pay the equivalent of like, I think it's like $30, and you get lifetime support with the App Store and Google Play, whatever. With Apple, you have to pay like I think it's either a yearly or monthly fee, and it's like quite a lot as well. So people just instantly get put off. And plus, iOS isn't like as compatible with other platforms and whatnot as Android is. So there's just way more support for Android out there. And so if you're stuck and you need to like fix something, it's so much harder finding a solution if it's on iOS versus Android. And so you're always going to get like problems with iOS, I think. Whereas Android is usually smoother with these kind of apps, especially an app as complicated as VeVe.
Yeah. So here's another controversial topic. I've seen that you stayed out of it, but there's been a lot of drama in the community.
Let me bring that one up.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I think, okay, so probably like maybe let's say 6 months ago, I would have like happily gotten involved. But it's like I'm at that point where I'm just too busy to like spend time. Like I'll read it and follow it, but I wouldn't like actively get involved in it anymore because I'm just like a bit too busy. And plus, it's because I'm like representing a project as well. Like I need to be a bit more like careful with like how I'm perceived. Like I just want to be like, you know, a neutral figure, which is like, you know, also still a source for knowledge for NFT projects and whatnot, but someone who people can find credible when it comes to, you know, learning about, you know, like Kaloscope and VeVe and Epiko and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. I mean, this was like a mud fest. I feel like no one came out of this unscathed. Everyone got damaged to a certain extent. And then you have a you have a great reputation in the community. You know, you're representing like a big project as well. So yeah, I mean, I totally get that. And for me, like, I don't even feel like I was like greatly involved. You know, I made a few tweets or whatever, but it is not healthy mentally. Like, you know, no matter what role you played in it, like everyone got damaged. The community got damaged from reading all this garbage. You know, the people had mud slung at them. It's just, man, it was just crazy.
I was like thinking, because this, I think, out of every like, you know how these things, they happen like every so often, right?
Yeah.
There'll be like a few people in a community, like, you know, and after a few days it dies down. I was surprised how long this went on for. I was like, this is like this seems to last the whole day, every single day for like the past 2 weeks. Like it's like you've dedicated like it's like a full-time job that you're maintaining this. Like I'm surprised it lasted that long.
I mean,
still extended, right? It's like still ongoing.
It's still kind of on. I think it's winding down. I think there's people are just getting sick of it. But you know what I will say is that it's been going on for so long, and random people just started jumping in there, and that should tell you something. That should tell you that, you know, there's so many people got involved. A lot of the YouTubers, a lot of prominent community members. It tells you that a chord was struck. You know, something just happened, and it just. So it's not just. Anyways, I don't want to say too much, spend too much time on that, but a lot of people got offended, and that's all I have to say, you know, about that.
Oh, let's see if people in the comments know. Anyone in the comments know where my T-shirt is from? Quick quiz.
Oh, yeah, I'll let them say.
Yeah, let's see if anyone knows actually. If I show the back, it'll give it away.
Someone says, "What up, my Asian brothers?" I saw you pulled your like ancestry information out there, and it was kind of all over the place, right? Ethnically.
Oh yeah.
Racially?
I did 23andMe. Yeah, that was quite fun because yeah, I thought I was like mostly like South Asian, like Pakistani side, but then it's like everywhere. It was like Central Asian, North, like India. Like I was like, oh, it's interesting. And then like 1% like in like Africa as well. But I think a lot of people have a bit of African in them, but I was like, oh, this is interesting. I was like, I'm 1% black.
Yeah, it reminded me of like an intro I did where I was like, you're racially ambiguous K or something like that.
Oh, it's the hold on, is there something wrong with the stream? Let me double check. Let me see.
Can you guys hear me? If you guys can hear me,
yeah, the stream's working. I just checked it. Yeah, it is working.
Yeah, I think it. Let me see. Let me check YouTube on my phone.
Is he saying no sound? Let me. Yeah, if you check YouTube on your phone, just see if there's sound stuff coming. Because I just heard myself on the stream.
No, I hear it. I hear it.
Okay. Who was it that said that? Oh, Maximus. I think you might need to restart your YouTube or something because everyone else can hear it. Yeah, streaming audio is fine. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Because I'm connected to Ethernet as well. Because I know when I'm on Wi-Fi, sometimes it cuts off. That's why I use the Ethernet. Okay, cool. Okay, cheers. Yeah, we're fine. It's probably just that guy. Yeah. Okay. No one's guessed it. I'll show you guys. Let me see if I can turn around. You can see. Oh, okay, yeah. It's I got it from Coin Bureau.
Wasn't there like an event or something that you got it from, or?
Yeah. So basically, so through like a mutual friend of ours, like I basically went to the Coin Bureau office. They're based in London. So Coin Bureau's, for those who don't know, is like a really popular YouTuber who covers cryptocurrency. They also did the article about Ecomi. Like we know the journalist who wrote that, and yeah, so there's like a brokerage firm that's like kind of part of them, and we obviously know the people, and so they gave me the t-shirt as like a gift, because usually they give these t-shirts to like the employees there. So if you like follow Coin Bureau, they'll like show, like his like the ceremonial t-shirt, but I've got one, even though I technically like I'm not an employee for them.
Do you think we just recently saw like Immutable X, like I guess an NFT was sold for OMI recently. There's something on Twitter about it. Do you think that's what, David, you meant about like third-party utility and stuff like that when he talked about that in the AMA a couple months ago?
Yeah. So I'm not gonna like confirm anything, but
sure.
So my vision of what I think David wants to do with OMI, right, is similar to what we've seen with like let's use BNB as an example, Binance Coin. So not only is it going to be a token that's going to be like listed on multiple exchanges, but OMI itself, if you look at the white paper, is always meant to be a utility token. It was never registered as a security token. And a utility token, you need to, obviously the name states utility, right? So
yeah.
What he wants, what I suspect he wants, is for platforms to integrate the OMI token, but in a way where it's used for something, right? So let's say you can use the OMI token to purchase something. Let's say you can use the OMI token as, as maybe like a fee in order to maybe do some kind of action on a platform. Like let's say there's a game, right? And you can power up a character. And in order to power up your character, you burn some OMI token, or you pay an OMI token, because I think a lot of platforms, they wouldn't want to burn the token. They'd want to take it as like payment. Unless they come to an agreement to burn part of it, who knows? But yeah, something that just uses OMI. And so I think they're going to start to partner up with a lot more platforms and just kind of figure out ways to integrate OMI. And the main thing that was always holding them back was the Go chain. Now that they're ERC20, a lot of these platforms, they're also on like Ethereum layer 1. So that's fine. And even ETH layer 2, as you've seen in VeVe, like they can do that as well. So we're going to start to see like a lot more platforms popping up which are using OMI.
Yeah, I mean, I assume this has a positive effect on price, and you assume the same thing, correct?
Yeah. Yes, it can. Yeah. ERC20 OMI can be sent to a ledger. Do you have a hardware wallet, Dan? I've got I've always had this one.
No, I need to buy one. I keep on putting it off, but I've been using Trust.
I would definitely recommend it now that you can actually, like, I mean, you could always have your OMI in like a hardware wallet, but I think you've got like a significant amount, so you probably shouldn't keep it on a web, like just a web wallet. You can secure it with a Nano Ledger, or whatever you want to use, Ecomi Secure Wallet if it's ever in stock.
Yeah, I was talking to Andrew Ellis on Twitter, and he was saying he protects his stuff with, he uses like a MetaMask, and then he connects the MetaMask to like a hardware wallet.
Yeah, exactly.
And he said like that's very secure, and I was like, man, I need to do that because I do have a MetaMask, and
yeah.
But that's probably the right direction I'm heading. But
I personally wouldn't leave it just on MetaMask, because there's
right.
I mean, a lot of people have been hacked with just MetaMask, but it's usually as a result of like them downloading something dodgy that like keylogs them, or like they basically just get their private keys. Whereas with a hardware wallet, like you don't really have that risk. You kind of need the hardware wallet.
Yeah.
the person's PIN code and stuff to like, properly hack them.
Do you have more than, like, I remember at one point you're done buying OMI. Is that true? Did you venture far off from your goal, or have you been accumulating
No, I ended up
more?
buying more OMI. So basically, so I was in 3 projects, right? Like for play to earn. So I was in Monster Infinite, Axie Infinity, and Illuvium, right?
Yeah.
And then with Illuvium, so initially I was like, so when the token was about 1.3, 1.4K, so that was a little bit below the peak. I think the peak was 1.6K. Like, so I had a decent stack, and I was like, okay, I know OMI is going to start moving. So I needed to kind of, and I felt like there was some instability coming in crypto as a whole, and play to earn projects, because they're basically, they can pump quite fast because the utility is coming from their token, right? Like you use their token to get more of their token. But if the value of that token goes down, then just as easy as the price goes exponentially up, the price can also go exponentially down, right? And so I was like, I'm way too heavily leveraged in play to earn projects. So I basically sold off all my Axies, and that got me like, a decent chunk. Like I was able to buy like another 2 million OMI. And then I sold off all of my IOV tokens, and then I was able to get like another 2 million.
Wow.
And then that got me over 22 million OMI now. And then I've left my Monster Infinite pot, because Monster Infinite is the one where I feel like it has the most room for growth because of how tiny the market cap is. Like I think now the market cap is like not even 10 million, and it's got a few positive catalysts, which I think it's going to hit this year. So my plan is for it to hit those catalysts, go to like, a slightly higher market cap, like 15, 20 million. I'll take some profit and then take a bit more profit like after that. But I'm mostly in OMI and VeVe anyway. So whatever, my other investments do, they're like my smaller ones. So it doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah, I like Monty. I think it's a great time to buy it. I mean, it's kind of dropped in value precipitously, but it's a great price, I think. And even if it gets,
cents. That's the private sale price was 20 cents. Like this is only like a 2x from private sale price. Like that's really low.
It actually reminds me of how I remember. I forgot when it dropped to those low lows where it was like 0.0014 or 11 or something. But it reminds me of that. That's the climate I sense like with Monty, how it dropped so low. People are like, what is going on? I mean, 90% decline in price is always pretty scary, no matter how bullish you are. But that's what it reminds me of. The way I
saw it, right, is if the team hasn't like gone and done something illegitimate, and if there's nothing that's been flagged from a compliance point of view, then I don't see why it should be at that price. I just end up buying more, which is the same thing I did with OMI. Like I was like, David Yu, Dan Crovers, these guys, they haven't done anything illegal from what I can tell. OMI hasn't gotten into any legal issues. So I don't see the reason why it should be this low. I'll just buy more. And that's literally what I did. I just bought loads.
Yeah, actually, that's what made me made my position become so positive, was because I got in at, I forgot, I think it was 6.8, I think, my like initial price. And I just kept buying all the way down. And so my cost basis was like, 3.3 or 3.5 or something like that, because I kept buying up as well. So I mean, I'm in a still good spot. And when you think about it, even if I sold, that's still like a decent profit, 2 or 3x in less than a year or whatever. That's a great trade,
Yeah.
But I still think there's a lot of room to grow there, of course.
Oh, for Taxi Corp. So it's very similar to how you add custom tokens on MetaMask. Like you have to actually get the contract address of the token, and then under Ethereum, you would add that contract address on the Ethereum network. And then you can add like custom ERC20 tokens. There's loads of tutorials on how to do it. If you just look up like, how to add custom token to Ledger, like you'd be able to figure it out.
And then of course, buy like direct, right? Don't buy it off Amazon. Buy it from direct from the like Ledger or something.
Yeah, 100%. Because people, what they do is, if you buy it off Amazon, they basically open. So they'll like have the box, right, and then they'll open it up, and then they'll basically like take a picture of the seed phrase inside, and then they'll package it up, and then they'll have like a machine to shrink wrap it, and then they'll post that out, and they've already got a picture of the seed phrase inside. So if you use the seed phrase provided, they technically already know your private keys. So some people, if they do buy it off Amazon, they should reset the seed phrase to a brand new string. So, but if they don't, then someone else has their seed phrase already before they've even like set it up, and then they're just going to get hacked. I've never looked at this project properly, Guild of Guardians. Like I've like kind of seen it, but I haven't like researched it.
Is that on Immutable?
Yes, I think it is. I'm not 100% sure. Guild of Guardians. It is.
I think so.
There's a blockchain. Okay. Yeah. I've seen this. Yeah, because it reminded me a bit of League of Ancients. Because I was looking at like play to earn kind of NFT games.
How did you guys, if you're allowed to say, you guys are recently gonna sell like Kaloscope, diamond and gold passes?
Yeah.
How did you guys determine the price of that? Did you base it off of like other passes?
Yeah. So basically, we looked at how much people were paying for them on the market, right? So the floor price for the diamond passes is 0.4 ETH, and we know people have paid more for those in the past. Like we had one person pay like I think it was like 1.5 ETH for one, when ETH was like $4,000. So they paid like $6,000 for a diamond pass. Wow. Yeah, we actually like found out who that was as well. And we like spoke to him and stuff as well. Like got to know him. He's like a very big OMI whale as well. He's got like I think he's got like well over 80 sets on VeVe. He's got like the Golden Moogly. He's got like all the Batman sets. Like he's a big whale. And so we basically looked at the floor price, and we wanted it to be significantly below the floor price, so that it's like you know how VeVe, like if they were to drop something, right? Like let's say the partner statue, they drop it at $300. We know it's going to go way higher than that. Whereas if they decide to drop the partner statue at 10K retail price, it's like there's less of an incentive in that point, and it's less accessible. We want the diamond passes to be as accessible as possible to everyone, because at the end of the day, it's like we don't necessarily like, there has to be a certain price where there's still good value for it, but it's accessible to as many people as possible. So there's like a balance we had to find. So we decided to go with 0.2 ETH. So that's 50% of the floor price. So, we know that some people are just going to buy it, flip it, and they'll probably like, if it's 0.4 ETH, they might sell it for, 0.35, they might, undercut the floor a bit. But, the idea is most people, from what I can tell, they kind of understand where the project's going, and they're just holding the pass. Same with the gold passes. We saw the floor was around about kind of like 0.12 ETH. So we set it at 0.075. So it's a bit below the floor. And, some people buy it just to like sell it at the floor price, or some people buy it just to hold because they kind of understand where we're going with it.
Yeah, passes are interesting. Did you get a recur pass when that was being sold? For like $300?
I was gonna mint one, but then I passed an opportunity because I thought, I don't know, it's got Gary V behind it, so it's gonna do well because of the hype. But then I wasn't like, so for me, I never go into a project based on hype. I always like look at the product, and there just wasn't enough of the product there to convince me. Like I know they've got licensing, but from the product, I couldn't like see anything tangible there as of yet. And I just couldn't see anything that like truly stood out to me, that made me excited to get into it. So I just kind of skipped it. Because if I got into hype projects, then I would have bought Dogecoin, for example, which is like 100% hype. But I'd rather go for like the unhyped projects where I've read through it and I'm like, ooh, they're doing some stuff that's very like innovative or creative, but no one knows about it. That's the kind of stuff I would go into.
Yeah, I bought a pass. I felt like I definitely FOMO'd into it. Like I knew nothing about it. I just knew it was $300 and Gary Vee was behind it. And some other people like Kyle Wilson were buying some. So I was like, well, I don't want to miss the boat. I mean, I guess it's a good investment because it's like $600 now. All-time high was like $750. So that would have been a good trade if I was just flipping. So
yeah. You bought some AXS token, didn't you? Like before?
No, I never got into Axe. I felt like it was too hard for me to understand.
Okay.
Now I think I understand it a lot more, but still.
Yeah, Axie tokens dropped a lot because, like I said, the whole play to earn space is just as fast as it grew, it just sank just as fast. So Axie's like $45 now from like when it was $150. So it's lost like 60%. But I don't hold any more AXS tokens. So I sold all of my Axies and I sold all of my AXS. Back when it was like $100-ish per token, $110. Because it was just dropping too much and I felt like there was too much uncertainty. And plus I wanted to get more into OMI because I knew what was going for that, like OMI was going to do really well in this kind of market. So I just wanted to hedge my risk a bit more because I was already in money token. So holding AXS when it's the same kind of niche is just, it was too much risk for me.
I have a question. And if you don't want to answer it, that's fine too. But the VeVe app, with what we know publicly about the VeVe app, can you actually program additional games into that VeVe app? Like, is that a huge undertaking? Like, is that even a possible thing? Because when they talk about the VeVeVerse and gamification, that's what I think initially was like. There's going to be games on this app, but now I don't see how that could happen. But do you have any thoughts from just a purely technical standpoint?
Yeah, so let me think. So it's not like the hardest task in the world to extend an app, right? And from what I can tell, it looks like after they had re-engineered the app, they made things like a lot more generic within the app so that it's easier to extend it, right? So for example, let me think of an example. Okay, like your profile, right? If you can see your name in your profile, in order to see your name under the owner of the collectible, there needs to be like a kind of generic link between the two, which in this case could be like your user model. So your user model would have your name and other stuff in it. You can then take that same model and use those details in maybe like a game that they've built for the app. And then they could just add it as like a separate component in the app. And that's typically how you would like want to develop software. Now, if they didn't make the user details like generic, if it was like essentially like, strongly coupled to just one part of the app, you would need to re-engineer it and make it generic. And that takes time. So I think a lot of the app has been made generic now. So it's easy to access with like new components. So yeah, I think if they wanted to, they could make a game in the app. Whether they want to do that, I don't know. I think with the VeVe app, my personal opinion is I don't think they will add games to the app. I think they're going to save gamification for the VeVeVerse. That would be my guess. I think for the VeVe app, they just want to keep it as like a platform for buying, displaying, and trading, selling collectibles. That's kind of like that product. And then the VeVeVerse, I think, will be the product for the social interaction and gaming and that kind of stuff.
Because I couldn't think of a real world example, and granted, I'm not an expert, where you have a very successful app where you're buying and selling things and displaying, and it also has a very successful gaming component to it. I just usually if they do that, it's not very good. So
yeah, we have one. Did Epiko ever make their announcement that they were supposed to on Thursday? So for this one, so Venkatesh actually said that it will be done by Thursday, right? And so they haven't done it on Thursday, and they're going to delay it because so this is like the way this works, right? Is initially because I saw him today, I spoke to him, and he was saying, "Oh yeah, I thought we could just like release a little clip just to like kind of show like, you know, the partnership, or just like not like announce it, but like I guess kind of announce it, but not like a big announcement kind of thing, like just kind of a preemptive announcement. And so he did it, and then he's like, oh yeah, and then like loads of people started commenting. Like I was like, what's going on? I've got like a tiny little Twitter account and it's blowing up. And then he basically like said, you know, he's gonna take it down, and he's gonna do it like properly with like Ecomi's PR. Like, you know how they PR stuff, they write an article and stuff, but in order for them to do that, they need to like have the content ready, and along with that, like, you know, design it so like the colors are all right, the logos and things, like it looks like, you know, nice and pretty, so that, you know, the community doesn't like freak out about that kind of stuff. And so they're going to do it properly. And obviously because of the how much time the migration took, like you saw, like it just kept getting like, you know, the market got delayed for like an extra day. I think that stuff just tied them up, and we know that they're going to get bombarded with questions, because on the day they did that tweet, like Reese and Alex, they must have woken up to like walls and walls of like at Reese, at Alex, of like people asking what this is about. So I don't think they want to go through that again. So they're going to do it properly, where all of the like kind of questions that you would probably ask, with the answers are already there in an article. So they get bombarded less, and it will be like a proper, like, you know, professional way to do it. And then when Ecomi does it, then Epiko will do it as well. But people kind of like already know that it's coming. So I think it's fine to like mention it, because, you know, if you YouTube it, like Cavell and other people have already covered it.
So, you know, like Venkatesh, he's like an advisor to Ecomi. Like, what does that mean in real life? Like, does that mean whenever they encounter the particular problem that he's an advisor for, that's when he steps in and assists? Or how does that relationship work with advisors?
Advisor is kind of like a generic term, right? An advisor is just someone who's like, they work with the team, but they're not like formally employed as part of the core team, right? So like Alex, Reese, like these guys, they're like formally employed by Ecomi to be part of like full-time employees for the team, right? Whereas Venkatesh, he's more like, he's contracted by Ecomi to like do, you know, like whatever they need done. So in his case, his role was like, you know, David would ask him to like, you know, build certain things for VeVe. And he'd be like, okay, what do you need built? And they would be like, okay, we want to build this, this, and this. And then he'd be like, okay, no problem, I'll do it. And then they would kind of like just keep doing that. But then it goes a bit deeper than that for like, you know, I guess advisors, as opposed to someone you just outsource to do something. Because advisors are like, I guess, more like personally involved in like the development scope of the product as well. But it's like a generic term. It's just someone, I guess, who kind of is basically kind of like a team member, but technically not formally employed as a team member. But yeah, in terms of his role, like they built a lot of the initial assets. So, you know, like a lot of the very early collectibles, like that was done by his company. And a lot of the like AR and VR stuff, they optimized that. The version 1 showroom, that was all them. They've done a lot of work with Ecomi, and they're still doing some stuff for them. You know, I don't know what David's asked them to do recently, but in terms of the past stuff, it's like a lot of the early assets they worked on.
Does he like, is a typical arrangement getting paid in some sort of equity, or is it more of a like a contract, case by case basis? Compensation.
Yeah, I think for advisors it's like case by case. I think in many cases, if the company's like kind of cash poor, then they'll probably pay in equity. In Ecomi's case, I think they started off cash poor because they had a bumpy road when they started. Because as you know, like they had multiple products, right? So they had like so they invested in other stuff. They had like this hardware wallet kind of thing called Bingy. I don't know if have you seen Bingy?
No.
Okay, I'll show you. Right, this is going to be a cool one. Okay, so if I go to this, so basically, I learned about this because I saw it on David Yu's LinkedIn, and I looked into it, And then I found out a bit more about it from Venkatesh as well. So if I share my screen, let me see if I can share the tab for it. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Okay. You can see, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what does this remind you of?
I mean, it's like the hardware wallet that they have.
Exactly. Yeah. It's even got the little screen. So it's actually the same factory that produces the hardware wallet. They produced this Binji card. Apparently, like that project, it didn't like blow off like as they thought it would. So it didn't do that well. And then they had like Ecomi 1. I don't know if you've seen Ecomi 1.
I've seen that card, like the
yeah,
like the promo stuff.
Yeah. So it's like a card where you can pay. Like it looked like a kind of crypto payment card. That didn't like. I think what happened with that one was when they had like their fundraising round, like crypto kind of entered a bear market. So all of the like crypto funds that they raised, the value of it just plummeted. So I think they didn't like focus on that. They decided to just focus on VeVe in the end.
I saw Omi the Clown post this one time, but he believes that like the OMI token was supposed to be the token for the Ecomi ecosystem, and we see that in like some of the earlier materials. Do you think that's true? That's still a goal for them overall. Maybe different products, but
yeah. I think so. The main thing that always held them back with OMI like utility was the blockchain. GoChain is just it's a dead chain to work on. You want to be on Ethereum, and now they're finally on Ethereum as of today. So we're going to start to see like actual OMI utility, not just you buy OMI and you just get OMI burning from like a non-circulating supply.
Kaloscope. It's interesting how many VeVe people are involved. Either they're supporters or they work for the team. It's kind of interesting there, don't you think?
Yeah. Because so with Kaloscope, right, is so some of the people obviously outside of VeVe, and then some of the people we met through like the mutual interest of VeVe. But the people we met, they have like a background which suited certain roles. So we didn't get them involved because they're in VeVe. We got them involved because of their background. It's just we met them through VeVe. But yeah, the kind of, I guess, public-facing people that you guys see, like Doza, for example, obviously we know him through VeVe. But then there's loads of people who kind of work on the actual product in the back. Like none of them are really from VeVe. They're from, whatever industry we needed them from. Like we got the game studio, we've got like, developers from Amazon. We've got, like Venkatesh's company who kind of, we technically don't know him through VeVe, but, he worked on VeVe, which is like another kind of, I guess, VeVe related thing. But to be honest, like, because we kind of understand this community and we're quite like, we can see like how passionate this community is and how supportive. We wanted to like reward this, specifically the VeVe community early on. For example, that's why we gave away like, free diamond passes and stuff, even though like we're kind of building out so much utility for these. Because, once we start to get all of the PR and stuff rolling in, like there was a big PR release today by Bitpinas, which is like one of the largest kind of crypto news outlets in the Philippines. They're the ones who covered Axie Infinity, and then Axie like kind of blew up. I think Taps Trades like pointed it out as well on the post. They covered Kaloscope like today. And so this is kind of like one of those things where we want to reward the community early on for supporting us. And so once we start to roll out all the PR, then those people who supported us early, it's like it rewards them as well. Because you know how many of us like wish we got into OMI like when they did the fundraising. Like we could all be like, like Brock or someone with like chilling with like a massive bag of OMI.
What is I don't know a lot of the whales really, like what their stories are, and I know you know a few, but what is the typical stereotype of a 2019 OMI buyer? Is it, someone who puts a lot of money into it and then they have a lot of money now, or was it, do you have a picture of what type of person that looks like?
Yeah, I think so. There's two types that I've noticed. There's one type where they just they're super passionate about AR and VR stuff, and Ecomi was obviously centered around AR VR. So they're like, oh, this industry is going to blow up AR VR. Let me find a crypto project within AR VR. And they just came across OMI. The other type, which I think is a bit more common, are people that knew Alfred Kahn. They just saw Alfred Kahn's name associated with it quite early on. And they're like, I don't know what this is, but it's got Alfred Kahn. I know he's got links to Pokemon. I'm getting in. That's the more common group I've seen. As far as up until the fundraising round goes. That was around the time where I kind of took a break from crypto, and I regret it so much. I'm like, oh man, I could have probably found this project if I just stuck with crypto, because I got into crypto in 2016 when Bitcoin was 300. It was 300, I think £300, which is $400. So I was there when Bitcoin was $400, and then I started buying some, not a lot, just because at the time it just seemed a bit scammy. But I was like, I'll just buy a bit because whatever, YOLO. And then as it started gaining more traction in 2017, when this stuff started taking off, then I started buying more and more, and I started buying at peaks. And that was not necessarily a mistake, because what I should have done is I should have just carried on buying after the big dump and dollar cost average. But when it dumped, I just stopped buying because I'm like, oh, it probably was a scam. But then crypto just surged again in 2019. And so I was like, in those 2 years, if I just carried on dollar cost averaging and researching, I could have probably found OMI and bought a big chunk of OMI back when it was stupidly cheap. But I didn't. I just gave up because I was like, oh, this whole space is a scam. So that was my mistake.
Yeah, but I remember that too. All those days. I don't know if I shared with you before, but I got into Bitcoin in 2013. But a lot happened from 2013 till today. A lot of scary things. Bitcoin was constantly. You could buy it for $6,000, $8,000 at one point. From all-time highs, and it's hard to maintain that degree of faith in any sort of project, let alone going through all these winners and stuff. But I mean, it's crazy how successful you can be with just a little bit of money in OMI, because they've went up 19,000%, maybe even higher. So if you put in $10,000 just even a little bit more than a year ago, you'd have millions, and that's just crazy to me, to hear.
This is a very good question. What do we think of whale access to the team? Brock seems pretty ingrained. So I think, okay, so this is one of those things, right? So just because you hold a lot of OMI, it doesn't mean you get special access to information from the team. That's not the way it works. It's actually the other way. Well, I guess kind of the other way around, right? It just so happens that a lot of people that are closer to the team, they coincidentally are whales, because they were there from the very, very start, before Ecomi was even Ecomi. Those who know Brock's background, we'll probably talk about it soon, actually, because Brock is involved in Kaloscope as well. We're gonna formally explain his role. But Brock was kind of there at the start of Ecomi, right? So he is closer to the team because he was there at the start, when there was no one around. And because there was no one around, the price of OMI was dirt cheap. And he actually bought a lot back then. So he doesn't have special access to any kind of information because he owns a lot of OMI. He was there at the start and he became closer to the team. And because he was there at the start, that's why he was a whale, because no one was buying OMI then. That's the kind of distinction that people need to understand. If someone came along today and they bought 1 billion OMI, they wouldn't get special access to the team or anything like that. It's not like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good response.
Yeah. What's this? Hey, I want to know what if I make some brand shoe custom and upload it as NFT. Oh yeah, this is a very popular question. Like we've seen it before, right? Where people are like, "Oh, I own my NFT, so that means I can print it on a T-shirt and then sell the T-shirt." So I think this one raised a lot of questions, right? So with certain NFTs, like if you own a Bored Ape, you are allowed to actually use the Bored Ape picture on your own merch and then sell that merch. But for branded IP, like traditional IP like Disney or Marvel, if you own an Iron Man NFT, you can't sell Iron Man like that NFT picture on a T-shirt and then sell that, because even though you own the NFT, you don't own the IP of it. So you can do whatever you want with the NFT. You can, display it wherever, you can burn it, but the actual IP behind what's on that NFT, you can't actually, like reuse it. I think you can reuse it for like personal kind of things or like one-off kind of things. Like if it's like fan art kind of stuff, like that's okay if it's a one-off. But if it's like something more commercial, you can't use it. You have to actually purchase a license to use the IP.
I was in Spaces a while back, and it was actually an interesting question came about. I guess someone had received as a gift a special one-off comic from Stan Lee as a gift to his personal assistant. And she was coming on Spaces. I don't know if you heard this or not, but she was coming on Spaces asking for advice. She wanted to turn that into an NFT and sell it, kind of monetize this special gift. And I guess there was a legal expert that came on and was like, basically said the same thing you did. You can't, because really you don't own necessarily like these character rights, even though that's a personal gift for you. So you would have to go through like the estate and you try to work that out before you decide to do anything. And it's actually a really interesting question, very similar to this, but yeah, I think it's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people do need to like know that, because it goes by like kind of a lot of people just don't realize that about NFTs is you own the NFT, but you don't own the underlying IP for that NFT.
Right.
I know VeVe does not need any advertising as the app is doing so well, but does anyone know if the Hollywood advertising goes to what happen when Ecomi goes to exchanges? Oh, Hollywood advertising, are they referring to Roger and Cohen, RNC?
I take that as big advertising, huge marketing push.
Yeah, with RNC, I can't remember if they were specifically going to do VeVe related marketing or the OMI token as well, because I think yes, they're doing Ecomi related marketing, I believe, because I think the VeVe related stuff was with Alex, and then the Ecomi related stuff was more going to be with RNC. That's what I recall.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that
distinction is interesting. Well, Cohen is like more of a PR firm too, right? So it's different than marketing. It's PR, from what I understand, is like press releases, like trying to get put into publications and things like that. Whereas marketing is like, hey, here's a commercial, buy the OMI token or buy whatever, buy these collectibles.
Yeah. So like so that firm, basically what they'll have a portfolio of contacts. So let's say they've got like, in the portfolio of contacts, they've got like Business Insider, Forbes, Bloomberg, and like Bitcoin News Network, whatever. So if they want to do PR, like, oh, we're listing the OMI token on a new exchange, then the PR firm would basically get in touch with all of these, give them the information to write it, and then coordinate like when to publish it, and then they'll basically do all of that for you. And then when the time comes, all of these articles just start popping up. Because you notice that when there's a big announcement, like within 24 hours, multiple places will publish it at the same time. And that's because, you've got a PR firm coordinating all of this stuff. That's basically the idea. So, yeah, I think they'll use Roger and Cohen for like probably like, when OMI goes on like, some kind of big exchanges and things like that.
I don't know when they'll do a big marketing push. I don't know if it'll be this year or not, but I feel like, this is just my opinion, I'm not basing it off anything, but I feel like once we have some decent version of the VeVeVerse is when we'll start to see like mass marketing to the masses. I don't know. This is just my opinion, but
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like that's a good time.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely see more marketing now because OMI's finally on Ethereum. Because now that it's on Ethereum, there's actually content that they can market, whereas before they just couldn't really do anything because they couldn't really do anything with the token. So if the token starts going on like Binance or Coinbase, then that's good content. So they can like get a PR firm to coordinate that. Or if it's like, I don't know, they do something with like celebrity, I don't know, that's good content. But it was always the blockchain that was holding them back, I felt. So now they'll be in a good place.
That's a good question. It's a common question. I think soon.
Change. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What kind of exchanges we'll probably see in the short term?
Short term being less than a year?
Yeah, definitely less than a year. Like this year.
Yeah.
Let's say this half of the year.
Yeah, Taps did a good video on KuCoin, and I think he makes a very strong argument for KuCoin. And KuCoin's a good exchange. I personally feel like we could always get a Coinbase before Binance, but I know he believes we would see Binance first. And to be honest, it's probably easier to get on Binance. So I think that's a safe bet to say that Binance could be next or within the same category as KuCoin. So I guess if you follow that logic and follow that reasoning, then Coinbase would have to be a little bit later. It does seem to take a little bit of time to get on Coinbase.
Yeah,
but I do think we will get Coinbase for sure, 100%.
Yeah, I'm in the camp that we're definitely going to get KuCoin. And I think like kind of like the kind of like more sort of mid-tier ones as well. I personally think we'll get Binance maybe second half of the year, maybe not the first half. But a lot of these exchanges, they've got like this process where it's like they basically interview you, and one of the key things they look at is your community. And I think definitely for me at least, like every project I've ever been in, Ecomi has like the strongest community by far. I think the other community that was quite strong was the XRP community, but the XRP community is more like, okay, so now that I've got like other projects to compare against, I feel like the XRP community, now no offense to XRP holders, because I was one of them, is they're very like, in a way, delusional / toxic to like everything. It's like they're so obsessed with XRP that they just forego innovations in everything else in crypto. Like the average XRP holder, they probably don't even know that play to earn is a thing. They're still obsessed with like XRP going to like $100. And many of them, they're from like the times when I was buying XRP, like 2017, when XRP went to like $5 or something. Like that was the peak, and it crashed. And they've been obsessed that XRP is gonna get to that point again, and they refuse to sell. They're just holding that same bag from like 2017, just waiting for it to get to that same price. And I'm just like, even if you sold at a loss, you could have gotten into a project like OMI, for example, and made your money back plus profit. But you just refuse to look at something else because you're so obsessed with XRP.
I mean, we have people like that even now. I think XRP is a good case study. And if it rides the hype train and crashes, can we get to new highs again? My gut is going to say no. But because Dogecoin holders are kind of the same way. They feel like they still think it could go to $1, and I guess that's possible, right? But I feel like they've ridden the hype train to an all-time high. It's going to be very difficult to get back there. While you're waiting, you have this huge opportunity cost. You could have sold at a certain price and maybe put that into something else that also moons. And I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. Have you looked much into IMX token?
Yeah, I've done a few videos on it. I think it's interesting. I don't know if you know a little bit about it, but they originally priced it like 100 to 1 less than what it is now. So they had the coinless private sale that Americans couldn't get into. So if you got that token, they basically did a split. So now for every one of your tokens you got during that private sale, you get 100 of these newly minted IMX tokens. So really the effect of that, it's priced actually very, very high, with a 10 billion, or it used to be a $10 billion market cap at $5, and now it's a lot less. So I don't see that moving anytime soon, but I see a lot of the value that comes with that is not from IMX token mooning necessarily, but from staking that and getting a piece of rewards or fees. That's what I read about it from the tokenomics. But do you know much about it, IMX?
Yeah. So basically, one of my friends. So I got into OMI last year, February. So it's coming up to like my 1-year anniversary of buying OMI, and I basically discussed it with a friend of mine who's like he's quite a like savvy investor, and he basically looked at the project and he's like, "Yo, Alfred Kahn is in this. You have to buy it." And that's kind of how I got into it. And so he's done the same thing for IMX. He's like properly looked into it, and he's buying a lot of IMX. And he's basically kind of dubbed it as kind of like the modern day BNB. It's going to have like loads of utility like across like all of these projects that are basically building on IMX. And so he's like, we've seen like how much BNB blew up once. It got more and more utility with like, the different like trading pairs and stuff and projects building on smart chain. So he also mentioned something about like a Pokemon card game linked to IMX as well, but I didn't like properly look into it. But he's like very, very bullish on it. But I did try and buy it on the private sale, and I can't remember how many spots they had. Like it must have been like 30,000 slots. And I joined the queue, right? And it was like, your position in the queue is 428,000, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to get in. So I just logged off, and I was like, yeah, forget this.
I mean, it was almost like trying to get a VeVe drop to get on that coin list, pre-sale.
Yeah, I reckon the VeVe system is going to be similar. It's like you have 10,000 drops. Let's join the queue. You are in position 1 million, and I'm just gonna be like, okay.
Oh, speaking of that, are you staking OMI?
So I have moved OMI to my wallet. I've moved, I think at the current price, I have like $62,000 worth of OMI on the app. Because Reese said that, yeah, I was like, I want to go for the maximum tier, right? So when Reese did the OMI migration AMA, I asked him, so you're going to have a few more tiers. What's the highest tier price going to be? And he didn't like say exactly what it was going to be, but it's like, it's not going to exceed $50,000 worth of OMI. So I was like, okay, so let me move $50,000, but I'll go a little bit higher, because if the price of OMI drops, then I won't have $50,000 worth anymore, right? So I basically topped it up by 20%. So I said, let me move it to $60,000. So if it drops 20%, which is probably, I think, the most it will drop, then I've still got at least 50,000 in there. So I can keep staking for like the highest tier. That was my logic. So yeah, I'm gonna see when the actual staking stuff is out, so I can see what the tier rewards are. But apparently, like the top tier staking, it's supposed to be pretty good.
I mean, it has to. When I think about it, $50,000 is a lot of money, and if you're in certain countries, that's basically almost impossible for you, right? So the benefit that you have to get from that has to be substantial. So I actually have basically all of it in the VeVe app as well. So I have about as much as you, I think. Then, so I'm hoping that I would get pretty massive benefits. I would hope. Otherwise, I'm just going to take it out.
Yeah, I'm hoping they implement like like additional like 2FA, like Google Authenticator 2FA, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's the only thing that it does make me. I am a little bit nervous keeping it on the app.
Yeah,
because the security is very weak. If you compare it to crypto standard.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
I mean, I know Reese has been asked this question, and his logic did kind of make sense. He said, if someone has access to your phone, right, then they also have access to your authenticator app. But you can still access someone's email without having their physical phone, right? So in a way, it's still safer to me, because you right now, if you have access to my like login and password for my email, then, and a lot of people associated their VeVe account with their email, obviously they have to, you kind of have access to both my accounts in a way, but you can't remotely access my authenticator app because that's like locked to my device. You would actually need my physical device. So you can technically, you know, use like some kind of phishing scam to get my email login and password, but you'll never ever be able to get my authenticator app stuff. That's the thing. That's why I feel like it is more secure. And I personally would prefer like the authenticator app.
And you know, I think there was an AMA that Reese was talking about, like basically operational security or like OPSEC or whatever. I mean, you have to also be responsible to you know, protect your phone. There needs to be a password on it. You can't give people access. You know, you got to do all these common sense stuff to protect yourself as well. You know. Anyways, yeah, I mean, it's exciting. I can't wait to see what benefits there are. I'm hoping to get into collectibles in a bigger way.
Yeah, same. Pokemon drop? No way. They're not going to do Pokemon any.
Oh, did we lose him? Do you guys hear me? Comment down below if you can hear me. Okay, great.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. I just vanished there. Okay, so let's see. Oh, Laurie's here. Hi, Laurie.
Shout out to Laurie.
She's integrated with Kaloscope. Okay, so the guy who created Fishes, Brock, he actually works for Kaloscope as well. That's all I'm saying.
So possibly.
That's all I'm saying.
I'm just fishing.
Okay, got rogged. Yeah. You know, I always get rogged on Twitter Spaces. I don't know if it's been like that for you, but Twitter Spaces has become so unstable for me. Like it did that for a lot of people. Like I think Reese
I remember.
noticed. Yeah.
Did you update your app? Was your app up to date? Your Twitter app?
It's like definitely up to date, but I read that it's like partly to do with like the amount of data your Twitter app is caching. Apparently, if there's too many people, like it can cause a lot of people to start getting kicked out.
My Twitter app I've been using my Twitter a lot recently. And after a while, I don't know if I have to clear the RAM or something, but it starts lagging. Like the app itself gets unstable. And I wonder if that's related to what you just said. Like, you know, I'm not very technical, but, you know, could it get unstable with long-term use or like huge load there? I don't know. But
you still bullish on Monsta Infinite? Yes, I'm quite bullish on it. It's just I don't see any reason for the price of it to go down outside of people just you know fudding it because the game's not out. It's like, you know, if you've been in VeVe, then you're used to being patient. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, I felt nothing when the price dropped as much as it did. I was like, I feel nothing now. After going through last year, I feel nothing at all, which is nice. You know, I sleep like a baby. But
yeah,
you know,
I just don't care.
You know, more for my benefit than the audience. But can you just give us like a what's going on, like a TLDR about money?
Yeah. So this is what happens with all projects, right? When they get in during a bear market, is during a bear market, people are just throwing money at whatever, right? So if I use an example, your example, where you just bought a recur pass because it was under hype and you didn't like necessarily like do any in-depth research, but you saw like, you know, the name behind it, Gary V, you saw other people buying it, like, let me just buy one. Like people do that, but for loads of projects during a bear market. And there was a lot of that kind of money going into play to earn. So people just chuck money at Axie, they chuck money at Illuvium, at Money, you know, like anything that had play to earn attached to it, like Gala Games, etc. And then as soon as the like bear market's done, people just start selling off these kind of projects. And because play to earn NFT projects were hyped, all of them kind of tanked. And we can see that right now. Now, with Money specifically, their target was the Filipino market. And the Filipino market is probably like one of the best markets right now for like growth. But it's also like a relatively newer market for crypto. And so a lot of people, they kind of like panic sold quite early on. So I think right now they kind of went through a period where where they've been oversold, and that's why, you know, I just carried on buying on the way down. So I think with Money, there's no reason for them to, you know, stay at these low prices, because if they had done something wrong, like legally, or if the team had like rug pulled or something, then yeah, that would make sense. But they haven't done any of that. It's just a case of they've just missed deadlines, which is fine. Like that's common in crypto. I wouldn't say that's a good reason for the price to have dumped this much.
When's the game coming out?
So the game was supposed to have come out in January, was supposed to be beta, but they haven't released it yet, and it's already January. So I believe they haven't like given a firm deadline. What they've started doing is they've just started like every week they post updates of what they've been working on, and from the looks of it, it looks like they're basically working through some bugs on the game and like working on like optimizing some of the graphics and stuff. So it sounds like they've built it. It's just they're making it better now. They're improving it. So I think it'll be ready for like, my guess, it sounds like it'll be ready for testing in like the next maybe 6 to 8 weeks.
Man, that sounds like I need to buy more Money at these prices. See, but part of it is for me, I have to buy Binance coins. So I got Binance for the sole purpose of buying BNB tokens.
Yeah, I did the same.
Yeah, which I don't like Binance really at all.
Yeah.
But so it takes a little bit of time. Whereas my Coinbase, I can buy USDT and probably have it ready like immediately to use to buy and sell, you know. So it takes a while to get money onto it.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, they mentioned this actually. They said they were looking to localize the VeVe app.
Yeah. Those stamps and like some of those recent articles targeting the Asian market. It's kind of interesting that they're releasing that, especially the stamps. Like I'm a big stamp guy. I don't know what it is about it. Like I've never invested in stamps, but there's something about it that's really appealing to me. And I saw that, you know, the recent New Year's stamps. I mean, to me, that's implying we're going in that direction soon, at least.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. I think with them branching out, so like, I mean, they already kind of announced like the Epiko thing unofficially, but we'll wait for it. But Epiko's market is India, right? And I think up till now, VeVe's done nothing in the Indian market. So I think this is going to be kind of like their way of getting their foot in the door into the Indian market, because it seems like they want to take it global. So we're probably going to start to see more like geographic specific themed drops, like you know, Lunar New Year, Chinese New Year. That's like a, you know, more centralized in Asia. But you know, I don't know too many about holidays in like, you know, other parts of the world, but I think we might start to see, you know, themed drops for holidays in these other parts of the world that they haven't explored yet.
Do you think with all this, like all this localization, all these bullish things that are happening, you know, do you think we could see like more than 10 cents per OMI? 10 cent plus?
Yes, definitely. I feel like we'll surpass 10 cents. How fast we do that, I don't know, but we'll definitely see 10 cents. My conservative prediction for this year was 2 cents. But after like kind of seeing like where we could go now with OMI, I'm going to put my range within my bullish case scenario at about 5 cents, my bearish case scenario at about 2 cents. And I think we'll we'll probably land like somewhere in between there. I think we're probably not going to move very much in OMI price for this like first half of the year, but I think the second half of this year we're probably going to start to see like more exponential growth. Like we're going to see like that second pump of OMI.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we were just talking about how, you know, OMI pumped like 19,000% or whatever. It's probably even higher, to be honest. You know, do you think we could see, like, I'm not saying will it go 19,000% again, but do you think we can see like a pump that of that same level of magnitude in a sense, like somewhere down in the future, like some other massive pump?
Yeah. So a massive pump actually links quite well to what Taxi Corp said. So a lot of projects, we see a huge pump as soon as staking is out. And with OMI, they can't allow native staking because of securities laws. But if an exchange wants to offer OMI staking and they reward the user for providing that liquidity, then that's perfectly cool. So if an exchange like Coinbase was to now create a liquidity pool for OMI and you could stake your OMI tokens, that would pump OMI massively. Because if we look at historical projects like Axie Infinity, the AXS token, even when the market cap of it was like, billions, when they released staking, the price of the token doubled at such a high market cap. So that one announcement brought in at least an additional $1 billion of liquidity. And an additional $1 billion of OMI coming in today would like pretty much double the price as well, if not more. So yeah, staking would definitely pump up, like it would make OMI go, like parabolic. So yeah, even 5%, I think that would definitely get people excited.
Well, like Gate.io, for example, like they already do staking. It's basically like I'm not sure if it's real staking, but it's like lending, so people can get.
Oh yeah, you can lend your OMI, can't you?
Yeah. Like, and I mean, the point I'm trying to make is that, granted, like I've never used Gate except to buy OMI tokens. So to me, it's a small exchange, but they have that, and I'm not sure if there's been a correlation between them releasing that and then only having a price pump. But
yeah, definitely. I mean, we used to have OMI staking actually on it was Ascendex, was called Bitmax back then. Yeah, but there used to be OMI staking. It was a promotional kind of thing when they listed. So you could stake your OMI tokens and then the exchange would give you more OMI. But then they, obviously because it was a promotional thing, it didn't last forever. And they had like limited slots. So you had to apply for a slot to stake. I think when they start listing on new exchanges, those new exchanges would open up slots. So you could apply to stake your OMI.
You have a question down here about MTL, and I think it's a good question for us. But we've been asking this a lot. But I guess my question to you to answer this is: do you know anyone or heard rumors of anyone that is part of the private beta, MTL beta?
Yeah, so I know of which group it is. So basically, when they first launched the VeVe app, like the first time it went live, they had like a group of beta testers, like super OG people that were involved in like the ICO stuff. Apparently, it's that same group of people who currently have MTL, so they can cash out. Now, I don't know exactly who those individuals are. I have an idea of who some of them might be, but for people who say there's no MTL, like that's not true. MTL is already live. It's currently live. People can cash out, but it's only this very small group of beta testers that can. And these are the same guys that test out the app. So the fact that we're at that stage, it means they've definitely done all the legal stuff, because otherwise not even the beta group would be allowed to do this right now. I think right now the main blocker is they just don't have enough data that they're confident enough to roll it out to, hundreds of thousands of people. They're still like, I think it's probably working fine, to be honest, but they just want to be super like 110% sure it's not going to, do anything that causes them to, spend time fixing problems. So yeah, I think they just want extensive data.
I heard this rumor, and I'm not sure if it's true, but it's someone who allegedly is like a member of the MTL group, like test group. But could you be one of those people and be buying gems at like 0.6, 0.7 and flipping it and make a profit? Make it very easy arbitrage type profit, do you think? Or do you think there's safeguards like, hey, you're like cashing out like $100,000 every day? Like that's what's going on here. Like you can't do that. Do you think there's safeguards?
Like I think there are safeguards in place. I think for the purposes of this, my guess is they've been instructed to, or maybe they've been given a certain amount of funds to cash out. So I think for this kind of thing, they've probably been like told to cash out different intervals of X amount, and only that, like not to kind of do it of their own accord. That's my guess. So yeah, I think there's definitely safeguards in place. Like they wouldn't just let people start cashing out as much as they want. Like that's not like good practice.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that would mean soon. I really think it's going to happen. I don't know when, right? But I definitely by Q2, I think there's a high chance we would get MTL. That's just my guess. It's not based off anything, but I just think that's a good benchmark to have it out to everybody by Q2 in 6 months, 5 months.
Yeah. Do you know what your average price is on Money Token?
It's high, man. I think I started buying at $1.80. And so it would be really nice to kind of get in at 0.4, right? Because it would really lower my cost basis to be a really nice investment. So yeah, I'm thinking about probably in the next week or two, I want to put as much as I put into Money now is what I want to put into it as well at these prices to get that cost basis way down. Then I'll be averaging like, I don't know, maybe $1 a Money token, or maybe 90 cents.
Pretty good. Mine is $1.30. But
that's really good.
Yeah, but I bought at the private sale price of 20 cents as well, and then I bought at the peak prices of like $3. So my average is like kind of $1.30. So it's actually higher, considerably higher than what it is right now. So if someone got in right now, their average would be like a third of mine, which is pretty crazy because I got in so early as well.
And your tokens were locked up for like a period of time, like your private sale tokens, right?
Yeah. So I had like basically like a cliff, and then like a unlock period of like a few months until I got my tokens. But yeah, I think I would if I had like disposable income right now, I probably would carry on buying a bit more. My key profit taking levels, because my average is $1.30, like I'll probably take a bit out at $3 and then $5, and then as soon as it kind of hits between $7 and $10, that's when I'll probably pull most of it out. But then it depends on the timing, and like if it's kind of like still early in the year and it hits $10, I probably won't take out too much, because my ultimate take profit level is $20. Like at $20, I'll probably have fully exited, because by then I suspect the market cap would have broken like 200 million, which is, I think, for this project in this year, it's probably like maybe the top that it'll go to. But most likely I see it kind of in that $50 to $60 million market cap, which is still quite low for like this kind of project. But I kind of want to be, I'm more of a conservative person. So I just kind of want to like put my money in, make my 3x, 4x, and then take most of it out, my initial plus profit, and then I'll probably leave a little bit in there.
I've never played Axie, but maybe you could answer this. But people always say like, if it wasn't play to earn, no one would be playing it. I.e., it's like boring. Yeah. Do you think Money will be fun to play actually, or is it going to be a straight up carbon copy of Axie in a lot of ways?
Yeah, my personal opinion is I'd probably lean more on the side that I agree with that, because I'm thinking like, I think the only reason I did really play Axie Infinity was because I was earning SLP tokens from it, because I stopped playing when the price of SLP tokens just tanked. And then I was just like, I didn't feel like the enjoyment. So I think it was that enjoyment of me, like, sat there, being like, hey, I just made like, $5 in like 2 minutes of playing this game. This is amazing. yeah, I think it's going to be kind of. So I know they've tried to make it more like challenging and like like you have to think a bit more by adding like extra elements to it. But at the end of the day, I think the main reason people will play it, as with all these play to earn games, is because they're earning from it. That's, I think, the main incentive. Because to be honest, a lot of these play to earn games, they are carbon copies of existing games, but just not as good or popular. But people will play these games because they can earn from it. So as an example might be League of Ancients, right? Like it's a copy of League of Legends, just not as good. But most people would want to play League of Legends as opposed to League of Ancients if League of Ancients didn't have the earning aspect. So I think that's what it's going to come down to, is whichever platform gives like the best opportunity to earn.
Are we still gonna meet up together? I know DesignerCon got pushed back, and that was one of the reasons I wanted to go in April to visit you guys and also go to DesignerCon. Are we going to do that same sort of meetup in September or what? What are you guys thinking?
Yeah, we could do one earlier. So so we want to host like this kind of like how can I phrase it? It's like a kind of crypto event with Venkatesh's like company. So for that, obviously partners are going to be invited. So one of those partners, for pretty much everyone who's watching this right now, Ecomi is a partner, right? So I think maybe like I guess the plan is to invite David and Dan as well. So
oh wow,
yeah. So if you're around, maybe we could like see if we can set something up. But that's the date for that. I think is around June.
I don't know if I want to meet them. I'm kind of scared about them because I don't want them to say something about like, oh, you're the guy that paper handed, or like like have a negative perception of who I am based off my my channel or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting.
I think a lot of people think that, I don't know, like Dan and David are like really serious or something, like because the way that like Venkatesh talks about them, it's like imagine if you and I, right, like today we open up our own crypto companies and we put on like this very like professional persona, but then in the background we like still like trolling each other and stuff. Like that's kind of like how Venkatesh is with David. Like he makes fun of his hairline and stuff, and
yeah,
it's just like they're like still like very like chilled and stuff. And like I think people probably thought that, let's use the like example where they put out the announcement like early, right? People probably thought, oh, like they're all like being like very like formal and strict about it, like they must have like brought in like all this legal stuff to like get them to remove it. But it's definitely not like that. It's like one of those things where it's like, hey bro, take down your tweet, we'll do it properly. It looks crap. It's like that kind of thing.
Yeah, but they're all like chums from like college, right? From like uni or something.
So not that far back, but they're from the days where they were like investing in projects together and they worked together quite early on. And so they still work together on stuff. And then now it's like, so we're doing an AMA on Sunday, announcing like the Aradina stuff and like Kaloscope stuff and like talking about some other stuff as well. Venkatesh is going to be there. So what he does is he's done like a lot of stuff with Ecomi. He's now going into kind of partnerships with kind of newer, smaller, upcoming projects that he thinks will do well, and he thinks Kaloscope is like one of those as well. And he's like spoken about it to like other people he works with to get their opinion. So he's one of those people that kind of like goes all in on something, and he's quite positive about us. I don't know why. I guess one of the things he said is we sound quite passionate, and he likes the concept, so he wants to help. But yeah, it's like a quite a kind of like casual thing in the background.
Look at that question from Joe. He's got that complaint about MTL.
Now that phase 3 is done, when will we see MTL, you think? People getting frustrated, even Fred Durst. Yeah, it's like the same question, MTL. I mean, MTL's there. People can cash out, but it's only the beta group testers that can currently do it. So I think the only thing, like I said, that's blocking them is just they want more data to ensure that it's safe for everyone to cash out. They don't want like people clicking, selling something for gems, cashing out, and the transaction never goes to their bank account, but they lose the gems. That would be disastrous.
I mean, you know what you just said is like, it's probably the old group of beta testers. So these beta testers must be like whales, right? So that's probably why the average Joe, like me, doesn't know anyone who actually is a part of MTL, because a lot of these people are just big whales, right? So that's kind of the implication. They're not asking people like me or you to do MTL just yet. So that's probably why we haven't seen it. And that would make sense to use an existing group of people you trust instead of, some random person, really.
Yeah, because the idea was, I believe what they wanted to do was they wanted to have like several groups of testers. So like they've got like the super like maximum level OG beta testers, and then they bring in like a smaller group that's like they kind of know that's probably more recent, like people who have like the VeVe lamp, for example. They probably trust those people, and then they'll bring in like more hand-picked people, and they'll slowly increase that group size. And then they'll do like kind of like, how when we had the market rollout, like random accounts had access to the secondary market, whereas other people didn't, and then they phased in more people. I think that's what's going to happen. So maybe in who knows, maybe next month we'll probably see more beta testers.
Yeah, I think once we see people like that say on Twitter, like, hey, I'm a beta tester now. I don't know if they have to be secret or not, but I'm assuming it's not the case. But I think once we see that, people will be a lot more comfortable, and it'll be more of a joyous occasion versus like, whenever things are secret, people think the worst of things,
Yeah, definitely. Which okay, so here's one, right? Which collectible do you think? Okay, so out of the current brands that we have on VeVe, which collectible do you think would like make people go absolutely mental? Like it would create a crazy gem squeeze.
With what we know about it right now.
Yeah. So out of all of the existing brands,
okay,
which collectible do you think, if they released, would cause like a crazy gem squeeze?
I think something like the Little Prince, which was announced, but we totally forgot about. All these things are announced sometimes, but then we don't see it. But I think something like that potentially has. I feel like if it was released maybe right when they announced it, it wouldn't go crazy, but now it will. Because people are starting to see the value in grails like Steamboat Willie or the partner statues. So now that we have that mentality about certain things are grails and worth a lot of money, I think something like the Little Prince will do really, really well.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Darth Vader. So there's this map, right? I don't know if you've seen this, but you can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, if we have a look at this map, so this is like by country, like the top heroes in that country. So we can see that Wonder Woman takes this big chunk here, and we can see that it's 15 countries that voted for Wonder Woman. So that's higher than Batman, that's higher than Superman, higher than Iron Man, everything else except Spider-Man. And that's what we see kind of on the VeVe app as well. So we're seeing like Spider-Man at the top, and then Wonder Woman's like grown massively. And then, if we look at villains, the top villain right now is the Joker, which actually makes sense, right? It's like 21 countries have voted the Joker, but there's one villain that got voted higher than the Joker, like massively higher, and that's Thanos. So 66 countries voted Thanos as like the top villain. So I think if we dropped, actually Venom is quite high up here as well. Like this whole part of the world, which also coincidentally voted Wonder Woman, their favorite villain is Venom. So I think if they dropped Thanos, that would probably become the
highest
valued villain on VeVe, and that would definitely cause a gem squeeze, in my opinion.
I'm surprised why the Thanos comment comic isn't worth more.
I think
like if that's the case, because I personally like it. Like I'm not trying to pump a bag or anything, but I gave it away recently. But I think it's a cool comic, but it's like one of the cheapest comics around.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that is why I think the Thanos comic, in a way, is like one of those genuinely like. I mean, I only own like maybe 2 of them, right? But I think it's one of those ones that genuinely probably kind of undervalued right now, because the Wonder Woman, right? Wonder Woman was going for like 150 to 200 gems. And then people started pointing out like how popular it was. And then that just pumped the price up to like over 1K, because people are like, it's the FA of Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman's one of the most popular heroes in the world. So I think with Thanos, it's the same thing. People just haven't like noticed he's one of the most popular villains. That, and it's also a comic. So if it was like an actual statue, I think it would be worth way, way more. People would pay a lot more attention to it. But because it's a comic, and it's the other thing is it's a modern comic. It's not like a super early kind of 1960s kind of comic. So that's the other problem. But I think when they drop the collectible for it, and they tag it as FA Thanos, that's gonna go mental.
I feel like a lot of people on VeVe, like they follow these personalities on Twitter, and whatever they consider valuable, like these big collectible whales, is what actually becomes collectible on the app, and some of it's justified. And I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that? Like, do you think the collectible market is determined by a small group of people that have a lot of influence? And I'm not even talking like YouTubers. I'm talking.
Because I made a video like a long time ago saying, the VeVe market is a good way to diversify, because you're not going to get like, these manipulators from like, Wall Street and stuff, just mass buying stuff. But then at the same time, we've got, just groups of individuals that have like quite deep pockets, and they could just buy up the whole floor of something. That's always going to be the case. It's a free market. Like even Dan said, if someone with a lot of money wants to come and buy the floor of everything, or the floor of something, then they're not going to do anything about it. It's a free market. They can do that if they want. Whether that's like moral or ethical or whatever, that's like a different argument. But yeah, definitely. We see it all the time. It's just part of like how this kind of system works. It's a free market. If someone wants to buy something and then pump it, like they're free to do so. It's not like, I wouldn't consider it like, a nice thing to do, but they can do that and they're free to do that. I definitely think some collectibles are like artificially pumped because they have like quite a small supply and people got in quite early on them. Whereas other collectibles like, let's say, I don't know what comes to mind. Okay, let's say the Walt statue, right? Like we know that there is like, so I own a Walt statue myself.
Did you get it on the drop, by the way? Or
I got it. I got it on.
Wow.
I got it on 16 minutes on the rebound. Which
oh god,
yeah.
Dude,
man. A video of that on Twitter as well. 16-minute rebound, which is insane.
You're so man.
Rebound ever. I was gonna give up. I was like, it's 10 minutes in. There's none left. But I just kept going, and I got it on 16 minutes, and I was like, what the hell? Yeah, with the Walt, I feel like there was like a few people that bought quite a lot of them, but because of how high it was priced, I feel like it's less, and because the edition size was kind of high as well, I feel like that's less manipulated than something like, I'll say the obvious one, like the Pride, right? Because we all know like there's one person who just has a crap ton of Prides. I own a Pride as well, and I'm happy to see it, like the price of it go up. But I own one which I got on the drop. I didn't buy anymore because it just didn't appeal to me. Like, yeah, it's got the Givenchy, but I like cool looking things, and it didn't like stand out to me as like something I wanted to like collect multiples of.
That's my biggest regret is I totally neglected the collectibles because for me, I only invest in things I feel comfortable and I feel like I understand. And I didn't understand the collectibles really at all. It's kind of a joke actually, but I kind of wish I sometimes on these drops, I would oversleep, or like I'd forget about them, or I'd be at work and be like, oh, I'm too busy. But I really wish I made more of an effort to try to get each and every drop, because I think it would have been an easy $100,000 in vault value plus if you had just tried for each and every drop back in the early days of 2021.
Yeah, I'm actually checking my vote value right now.
How do you have so many collectibles? Because you're basically just completing all these sets. Is it just from your personal salary, or is it from your XE breeding money?
Yeah, so in total in VeVe, I've put in $14,000, right? Which is probably
of your own money into VeVe.
Yeah, $14,000, which is probably more money than most people have put in. But because I knew people, like, for example, I knew Brock quite early on. So I was kind of able to learn like strategies to like flip gems. So, I would, for example, I would try not to kind of like flip things straight away for like a minimal profit. I would like hold certain things and I would stack them up. Like, for example, Brock recommended like Cora, like the Mermicorn, when it was like 7 gems. And you just buy them whenever it's like 6-7 gems. And then all of a sudden it started going for like 40-50 gems. So, you've made like a 5x, 6x right there. So that was like one way where I was just like buying like certain undervalued things and just slowly stacking them over time so I could flip them and then buy the stuff I wanted. And then, yeah, outside of that, I would I would avoid FOMO, because so many people lose gems because they go straight in after the drop on the secondary market and they'll buy whatever they want to buy. And we used to see this pattern, obviously, where things would like start off high and then come down, and you never want to buy when it's starting off high. You just want to wait. And we'd be on the VeVe Discord, like the official Discord, like me, Granola Warfare, Geomite, Eagle Eyes, and we'd be like, we need to like not FOMO. Our rule is for the first 2 hours we don't buy anything on the secondary market, like no FOMO. And that became like a basically an unspoken rule, and we would stick by it. And that's actually a very good number, 2 hours. Like, if you want to buy something, wait 2 hours. And there's actually data to support that as well. Compliments to Omi the Clown, right? So if you look on any collectible price, like a newly listed collectible, right? So if you look at when the market opened for that newly listed collectible, just look at the time chart, and at about 2 hours is when it hits the bottom. So it will start off high, about 2 hours in, it will hit a bottom, and then it will come up a little bit and then stay flat. So, and that's like the average I've noticed is about 2 hours is the average. That's when you can probably get in at the bottom.
Dude, that's a great strategy that you just shared with the viewers here today. I think that's amazing. I do regret not listening to Brock more, because I remember he would say stuff and, I wasn't in that collectible mindset, so I didn't care. But, if I had just listened to he was talking about the Marvel ones before anyone on Twitter was talking about Marvel ones. He was talking about how that's like a big comic to get. And I looked at it, I was like, it looks like crap to me. It's just $7. It's a common. It's just a common.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now it's like, then there's people who bought like 1,000 of those Marvel ones at the $7-8 price range, and now they're worth, whatever they are. So I regret not listening to that man more, that's for sure.
Ultraman. Okay, so Ultraman was actually my first NFT that I bought. I bought Ultraman Common and Ultraman Uncommon. I couldn't get the rare on the drop. It was sold out. Did you manage to get any Ultraman?
Who, me? No.
Yeah.
I didn't even try. Actually, I'm not sure if I was around then. When was that?
That was
I came in.
That was definitely in March, because that was my first. That was my first drop. It was definitely March.
I remember the poster being one of the first drops that I saw, that I noticed, the first Ultraman poster. So yeah, I wasn't around for that.
It's actually one of my highest rated videos as well. Like I did a video on the Ultraman drop, like back when like pretty much no one like knew of it.
Do you have a Todd?
I don't actually have a Todd. Yeah, so it was one of those ones where I just kind of like kept putting it off, and then outside of it being the first VeVe NFT, it didn't like, I don't know, it just never like really appealed for me. Like I think it's definitely going to be valuable, and it'll remain valuable and it'll gain value, but it's just one of those ones where, you know, like I just didn't get it. And you know, now it's just way out of my price range, and I probably will like never like get it. Yeah, this was like that's me purchasing my first NFT, the Ultraman 7. And then yeah, my first buy now. All the timer used to be 30 seconds, I remember now, yeah. Like they've increased it to like 120 seconds. And where is it? Yeah, I tried to go in and it was sold out. Oh, this is for like the new people. Like, look at the clock up here. It's like 5 minutes past 4 o'clock, and you can still buy them. Like you can't buy anything like 5 minutes into a drop now.
Man, it's kind of depressing because I don't really get drops anymore. I think the last drop I got was the Maricorno drop. You know, that's obviously not something that I'm gunning for necessarily, but I prefer the comics a lot more. But it's like it's impossible to get drops nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, look at this, right? 6 minutes past 4 o'clock, and the buy now button's just sat there. Like you could sit there and buy them. You didn't even have to like rush for them. I think this is the one where it said confirmation, but it was oversold. Yeah, look, it just didn't do anything. It like errored out, so I clicked buy again, I think. So for that one, if you had the error, they basically compensated you with the secret rare Ultraman poster. Yeah, look at my vote. It has one collectible. It's like my first vote picture. I'm like, ooh.
What's your what's your game plan with your collectibles? You want to hold it to the VeVeVerse minimum, or are you gonna cash out someday?
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, if I need the money, I'll cash some out. But in most cases, like I'm not in a rush to like sell anything. Because I'm a collector at the end of the day. I will probably flip certain things that I have multiples of to get things that I want that I don't have. But for me, I just want kind of like as many sets as possible because I'm quite bullish on like the benefits of Master Collector Program. I think my opinion is when they start doing stuff like land sales, they're going to look at collector ranks, and I think Master Collector Program is going to play a big role in that. That's my guess.
Yeah, I think my only play is, I think obviously the game is going to change once all these things are released, but I think having like the amount of OMI I have in the app will drastically, hopefully increase my chances of either getting collectibles or at least making money. And then I guess I only have like 2 sets, and there's just stamps. So really, I probably shouldn't invest my money in a stamp play necessarily, or like set play necessarily.
Yeah, I think there are certain sets that you kind of like that are quite easy to get right now. Like
yeah,
I would say probably the best value set is the full Cryptkin set. Like you can complete the full Cryptkin set for 1.2k. You can get the ultra rare and you can get all of the other ones, and that's like a 10 collectible set, which is insane. So 1.2k, you can get a 10 collectible set.
that's just a lot of money for me to put in just because I want to play the MCP game. You know, you'd have to be a particular type of person that would want to do that, or even has the funds to be able to do that game, which is fine.
Yeah, I think moving forward, like we're definitely gonna see a bigger kind of push on people like stacking collectibles like sets rather than, you know, just stacking one of something and then flipping it. I think because David himself, he's a collector, so he's going to want other collectors to like benefit from it. John Doe. See, there was stuff just sat in the store. Like, you didn't even have to buy stuff on the drop. You could just buy stuff when you logged in. There was like Batmans you could buy, like unicorns. I remember when I got the app, I saw like unicorns sat in the store. You could just click buy and get them. Like, they weren't sold out.
Did you hear about the people that used to sell and flip on eBay before the secondary market was up?
Yeah,
like they would buy collectibles and sell it on eBay, which is pretty crazy to me, actually.
Yeah. That's what got me into the drops, actually, because I skipped the unicorn drop, and then my friend sent me a spreadsheet of like someone basically what they did was they were tracking prices on eBay versus the retail prices on the VeVe app, and then I saw someone sold a Ritmo for $200 on eBay. Which, Ritmo's worth way more than 200 now. But at the time, I was like, wow, this unicorn thing that they bought for like $12, they sold for 200. I need to buy some VeVe NFTs. So that's when I got into it. And then, yeah, I was seeing stuff like, the DeLorean, like people bought it on the drop and they're selling it for like $500 on eBay. And I was like, wow, this is insane. And then my friend was showing me like screenshots where, like the Ultraman 7 had actually sold for like $250 or something. And I was like, wow, this is only like $70 in the app. And then, yeah, that's kind of like what got me into it.
One last question before I have to wind down. I'm sure it's pretty late over there for you.
Yeah.
But, do you think the VeVeVerse is going to be a separate app or a desktop app? And if you can't answer, that's fine. But
yes, it'll be a separate app.
It has to, right? I mean,
it's gonna be a separate. It has to be a separate product, not just from a technical point of view, but if you look at the company, right? They filed for VeVe as a separate entity as VeVeVerse. So you could actually let me see. Verse, let me see. I'm trying to see if I can remember what it was. Oh, here we go. Yeah, let me share my screen. So if I... Yeah, okay. You can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
So basically, you have like VeVe, which is a completely separate entity to VeVeVerse. So you can actually see the license, like the trademark documentation here, by Ecomi Limited. So they registered this in 2020. So just about, let's say, a year and a half ago-ish. Singapore, that's where the Ecomi's based. That's fine. So yeah, it's like a complete separate thing. And if we click into here, yeah, we can see. So they've registered for VeVeVerse and VeVe. They're two separate entities. So it has to be a separate product.
Yeah, I remember seeing that, but I definitely didn't come to that conclusion when I first read it. I don't know what it was, but
yeah, that definitely has to be separate. And plus, from a technical point of view, like what they're trying to do on VeVeVerse is not something they'll be able to achieve on mobile. Like they need to do it on desktop, from what I can tell.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm not very technical, but I would look at other comparisons, and it's like I don't see them being able to do that. That's impossible.
Yeah, I mean, even like basic kind of metaverses, like not basic, but like ones that look kind of like simple, like Decentraland, for example. Like a mobile app just can't handle what they're trying to do. And VeVeVerse is supposed to look a lot like they've alluded that it's supposed to look, pretty clean. So it has to be desktop, from what I can tell. And plus, they're building out the web platform anyway. Like it only makes sense that they kind of transition more to desktop for this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, hey man, I really appreciate talking to you, answering all my questions, because it's always a pleasure to talk to you. But thanks for having me on. But I got to bounce.
Oh yeah, no worries. Yeah, I think I'm done as well.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been around for a little while, so yeah, we should probably do another stream with we're supposed to do one with me, you, Taps Trades, and Wannabe Champ. We need to like do another one.
Yeah, I don't talk to him as much. Is he doing okay? Doing well with the family and his business?
Yeah. His wife's pregnant and she's about to have a kid like any day now. So I think he's like
Crazy.
busy with that. And he was doing like a DIY project where he built himself like an office, so he was busy with that as well.
Nice. Okay. Well, bro, thanks for talking with me. I guess I'll catch you later, man.
Yeah, no worries. We'll end this here. So yeah, thanks everyone for joining in. We'll probably do some more of these. So till next time, have a good evening, good day, whatever it is. See you next time, and good luck on the
See you
drops.
guys and gals.